Kia ora. My name's Chase Tahira. I'm a Class 2 truck driver for Fulton Hogan, and I'm based here at Rongotai Yard here in Wellington. We're with the Wellington South Maintenance Contract. Today we're going to talk about safety around swinging tailgates. There have been incidents in the past where tailgates have swung open and they've crashed into vehicles, they've caused other damage, or they've posed a potential hazard to people should they have been around. So it's important that your locking devices for your swinging tailgate has two locking devices on it, a primary and a secondary. All subbies, all contractors that Fulton Hogan employ during the course of our work must comply with these standards as well. Now we're going to have a look at the hinge on our tailgate. You've probably seen this type before. There are two types of pins down here. This one here has the hinge type. This system here employs a locking pin in the bottom hinge. So when you're swinging your tailgate, you've got a pin here. Now this pin needs to go in like that. And what it does is it makes sure that this doesn't jump out when you're swinging your tailgate. You've got to remember when you're finished swinging your tailgate, pull it out, because this allows the back to tip. This is our primary lock on our swinging tailgate. It's the pin that runs right up and secures the tailgate itself. This here is our locking mechanism. It's secured by a secondary pin, which is here, and our primary lock, which pulls it down like that. When we're engaging our lock, the primary lock goes up, the pin goes down, and this secondary here, its purpose is to ensure that the primary lock can't fail by preventing the pin from coming out. It's important that the pin goes on the bottom here, because if it goes up in the top piece, the pin can still come out, and if this works its way along, they can bend it and still come out. So just make sure the locking pin goes underneath. This here is another type of locking mechanism that we have on our trucks. This is one of the more common types. This here is our primary locking lock here, and this bolt here is the secondary lock that secures the primary lock. In order to open this lock here, you need to pull this up and pull it down. Then that can slide up and it can open. When you're closing it, you got to make sure it's all the way down. Bring that back down. This prevents this from being opened. Before we swing open our tailgate, there's 2 or 3 things that we need to check before we do so. The first thing, we're going to have a look up here, check on your load, make sure you don't have load that's bearing down on your tailgate. This is important because if you happen to trip it and there's load on it, it's going to swing it out there and it could be potentially dangerous. Another thing we're going to check is our conditions. We're going to make sure, on wind factors, the wind isn't going to catch it and rip it out of your hands. What sort of gradient that we're on, where gravity might pull it down out of your hands. We're going to make sure we've got sufficient safe clearance as well for swinging our tailgate. This here is our primary locking device, which comes down, and this here is our secondary that locks in on the bottom. You might notice on a lot of our other trucks it employs a chain rather than a latch like this one, but either way it goes, it must have a primary and a secondary lock. Just to wrap up, guys, the 2 and 2 rule. Always have 2 primary locks and 2 secondary locks, and remember, absolutely no driving your truck while the tailgates are open.